Everyone's talking about AI coding agents, but most people are doing vibe coding. Okay, so when we say about vibe coding, then we usually think about that. Yeah, hey, ChatGPT or Claude or Cursor or any coding agent, just build me this login page. Just do this stuff. Just do this stuff. And in that case, the prompt, or you can say the requirement that we want AI assistant to build is very vague and very open ended. You just gave a prompt and AI generates codes where it have a lot of assumptions. It cannot understand what user truly need, and in that it made us to go in a very deep down loop of feedbacks, improvements, and hallucinations. Okay, and we just totally got lost around editing the prompt and then the generating the response, and parallelly we are losing much the integrity of the context. Okay, so it totally skips the how development is going on in the industry, which is the typical software development life cycle, where traditional software development life cycle goes around the planning and then the designing. Then after implementation, we test the environment and everything. Then we deploy to the production server. So now a new convention is coming, which is spec driven development. Now, instead of asking the code first, you first define the specification, what the system should do, what constraints it must follow, what success and failures look like. Okay, so first let us go around that how SDLC works. That first of all, in the company's code base, what we does is first we understand whole code, the architecture, and trade-off and bottlenecks. Then we plan and design a feature. Then after implementation, we go around human effort loops before the coming of AI era that we implement. Then there is a QA testing team which is specialized for improvements, the conventions that the company code should follow, the UI constraints, etc. And then after the approval, then we deploy, and then there is a maintenance team, etc. Now, when I say about spec driven development, it is the actually the mixing of the SDLC and the vibe coding. You can see like that here we are playing with this, but not exactly, but we are specifying the AI, not making AI into a very vague open-ended situation. We are clearly specifying AI that what we actually want, and let me just explain you how. Okay, so first of all, what we does is that we plan our behavior and constraints in this the PRD. Okay, when I say PRD, it is the product requirement document. So first of all, we specify our requirements that AI we have to make this feature, the it is used to cater this user's bottleneck, and it should have that scalable efficiency, etc. Then AI would response and make a PID of it. Okay, so AI would make a proper PRD document that this is the specifications. That is what we have to do to cater up the user's use case. Okay, so in that case, we are explaining the AI that boss, this is not what we want to show to the user. This is what we want to show to the user. This is how the user have a journey of the platform, like the customer journey. Okay, so first we have a total loop of satisfaction and retrying with the prompts and all, that we are making a PID. Okay, in this we are reiterating with AI, and we are maintaining a document that what exactly what we want, and even AI is on the same page, at the same page. Okay, then after that we are going into a technical discussion with the AI, that after reading that PRD, generate a specification document that how DB should look like, or how the API should look like, how the backend should have the constraints with the front end and how API should work. Then after reading the PRD, AI generates a specification document. Okay, that is the complete technical background of the feature that we want to implement. Then we reiterate even more and more. Now the purpose of this is that we are doing in a very um let's just say very sophisticated way of vibe coding. But what is the difference here? We are having the total control. The problem with the vibe coding is that AI has no clarity of the problem that we actually want to solve, and we are not able to teach the AI that what we want. Okay, so in this case we are sophistically saying to AI that this is the exactly what I expected. We are making expectation towards the reality, and more importantly we have the ownership over the program, we have ownership over the code base and how the AI should work. Like, it shouldn't always work like black box, even though many research papers says that AI is just a black box and all, and etc. Yeah, they are true, but it's also upon that what we actually want, how we are actually explaining to AI and how AI understands us. Okay, so we have a complete control over the context, each logic working with the direction of AI, and we are achieving the code ownership here. So after generating a specification documentation, then we are going towards the implementation of each and every specification of that feature itself. Then we have a loop of AI responses, how AI is making the front end first, then back end. The reasoning behind is that after getting the front end, AI would get a more gist of that how users actually want a product. Okay, so after making the front end, and AI focuses on a back end and a middleware, covering all sorts of the requirements. Then after getting a complete feedback based looping and improvement, then we proceed towards the verification that whether the thing that our AI assistant tool have made, that model have made, is actually relying is actually complying with the requirements and the specifications. Is it actually fulfilling those criteria that we actually specified with the AI? Here, with the help of our very sophisticated workflow, the convention, we're actually building something truly meaningful. That, for example, if we are making just post login, then we are having a validation that username is required, then we're expecting a result that valid credentials should return 200. Then after spec is approved, the AI would generate the design documents, implementation, and a test. So all this is all from the same source of truth, the documents that we are making. Okay, think it as a bringing the software development life cycle back into the AI assistant coding, which is a very less guessing, more consistency and better software. That is the spec driven development. Okay, for in depth you can have this article in this link. This is the coding is meditation. Yeah, thank you.